We are in training. Aren't we all in training? I don't know. I am. You can tell by what you see and what you don't see. I'm sorry. All right. It's going to be good enough. All righty then. Got a little bit of time. I don't see anybody in the room yet, so that's awesome. Hey, all right. We're finishing up the week. Hadn't even said hi to anybody. Hey, Charles. Hey, we're all still healthy. I hope everybody else is still healthy. It's the end of the day. I just cracked open a fresh Dos Equis. I won't even touch my cigar. Certainly not on camera. Excuse all this because this is what we got to wear here all day long. And boy, it just more people come into the shop, and we're really shut down. There's not a lot of people come in, but still customers do have to come in. And am I ranting a little too much? I think I am. Oh, how is everybody? Anybody have a beer with me? I don't think Terry's here. Happy Pachanga. I shouldn't do that. I killed their beer right now too. Well, I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna catch up. All right, you made it. Everybody's good. Got some interesting news. If you've seen stuff that I put out and Faye's put out, we're back. Pretty close. We're going to do a Christmas special, kind of holiday special kind of thing on the 23rd. I put Faye shared a link and I copied her link, changed a couple of words because, you know, she writes a lot better than I do. And then we shared that. I shared it. She shared it. Everybody shared it. So that's what we're going to do on the 23rd. So it's been a while. So that's not what I'm talking about right now. But if anybody has any questions about that. Right now, I am doing LS lifters. I take that back. I am not doing LS lifters. I'm drinking a Dos Equis. Has anybody ever wondered about the LS rocker? We have any LS people in the room? All 7 of y'all. The LS rocker is actually a really, really good rocker. It does have some problems, but it's not the rocker itself. Is it? Is it not? The factory bearings will come apart and they're not encased. They have an inner and an outer casing. But if something were to happen, you'd have these little bitty needle bearings everywhere. Also, and I'll show you what that is that I'm talking about. Unless nobody wants to hear about LS bearings. Hi, Motorheads. Yes, Edwards. Yes. Here's what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't want to hear LS stuff. I don't know. I haven't been here so long. Here's the factory LS part that goes inside. There'll be dual bearings that goes inside of this rocker. And that all presses in. And it presses in just like that. On both sides, it presses in. And that's the bearing part. One of the problems that they have is if you see the end, there's only so much movement you can have. So when you start getting up there, all the LS guys, you know, LS world's a different world. If you ain't got a 600 lift cam, you're a punk. These guys are just put the biggest dang kangs. I mean, it's the oddest thing in the world for me is old school, the stuff that an LS can do. It's just amazing that it'll stay together. Yes, compare those to the old school rocker. Yes, the old school rocker is just a fulcrum and a rocker, and it's metal to metal. It's Henry Ford. It's really one of the most highest friction spots on the motor, besides the lifter and the cam, is the fulcrum and the rocker. I can show you lots of rockers. We'll do a whole video just on rocker technology, and it's metal to metal. Really, really, really tough. And you start increasing spring pressure, and you start putting a load on the rocker. So LS is badass from the factory. A truck has a roller cam, roller rockers, all the cool stuff that we never had when we were kids. So this is the way that GM did it. Okay, well, that's fine. But if you start having a bigger cam lift, you will actually go beyond its realm there. Hey, Wade, he's back. I'm back. Sorry, it's been a while. This Corona thing is really a tough one, but we won't go there. Look what's inside of here. I'm gonna pull one apart. It's gonna be needle bearings all over the place. Not to worry, because you don't have to clean them up. Here we go. Can you see that? I already dropped one. You see it laying right there. And good luck. And then here's even a better part. Can you imagine if you valve floated, you over revved it, and you had a problem? Can you imagine 100 of these in your motor? I can't even pick these babies up. I try to pick them up on the table, and my hands are just, those thumbs ain't gonna pick those things up. Can imagine in a motor with a valve float for a split second, and just grenades all of these. They don't take abuse very well. They take load and they move and they're low friction and everything. But valve float, which is when the valve is slower coming up to the top, so it's called valve float. The spring can't close it fast enough. So it actually floats for a second, the rocker closes, the valve is still going. What happens is if it doesn't stay with it, it slams it. So the rocker got there, it's loose, and the valve slams shut, hits that rocker, and just destroys all these needle bearings. A tip of the day, how are you going to get all those needle bearings picked up? You're just never going to pick them. And you're going, what did he do? I did not drop them on the floor. Tip of the day, get you a magnet. Get you a magnet to pick up all those dudes. Keep them in a magnet, and then when you're done, throw them in a Ziploc bag and pull the magnet off. Look at that. So that's how I've learned to stop being so frustrated and having needle bearings all over the place. I just automatically, boom. Like I said, you can't even pick them up. You end up dropping one on the floor and you'll never find it. Magnet and tweezers, yes. All righty then. Brought back some other memories from high school. Magnet and tweezers. I'm just joking. Come on, people. It's Friday. This is what we're doing. I missed y'all. I missed y'all. Hey Ted, cool 15 of y'all in here. I would do this for one person, like Shop Mom says. I didn't even bring the iPad. You gotta bring the iPad so that we can correspond. Shop Mom can hear what's going on, right? Whatever. Sorry, this was just improv. I want to just let you know, mainly say hi. I missed y'all. And on Wednesday, the 23rd, we will be doing Faye's back. We're going to be doing Shop Mom, Faye, and I are just a normal, just have a good time. We're going to have some holiday drinks. We'll even do some holiday ASC questions. We're going to have holiday, all kinds of holiday stuff. That's what's happening Wednesday. We're already in the holiday mood here. Hey, Spanky, how you doing? Telling everybody what we're doing, and I missed y'all. So, we're doing the LS rockers, not necessarily. I'm just doing them while we're talking. We'll let him be on the camera too. We do I try to all the time. She's more like Charlie's Angels. You never saw Charlie. You saw the Angels. So I don't know if that means that Faye and I are angels and, she's Charlie. I don't know who's the Charlie in that realm. We do know. So Feliz Navidad to everybody. Most definitely that's what we call it here in our household. It is Feliz Navidad. To y'all, it may be, hey, Superman. To everybody else, it may be Feliz Navidad. That's awesome. Cool. We're on board with Feliz Navidad. Solis being my last name, we always, since I was a kid, it was Solis Navidad. LS Rockers, I've explained a little bit. This is an LS Rocker thing. It may turn out to be that way, unless no one wants to talk about the LS, because a lot of people don't even like LSs. A lot of people love LSs. I'm not an LS going one way or another. I don't believe God, but I do know what you mean. Yes. Religion is a tough thing. We're not talking about religion. We're talking the spiritual powers that be. So that's okay. I can say Merry Christmas. We can still have a merry, happy time. We won't go there. Merry Christmas. I still get like I said. You get what I'm talking about. Awesome. We won't even get into religion. I could rant on religion for a long time, and we won't get there because I don't want to offend anybody. Feliz Navidad. Yes, that's what I mean. Hey, Shop Mom. Hi, Elaine. Shop Mom says hi. Merry Christmas to y'all. Thank you, Lee Spanky. Charles Whitman. Hey, everybody tell Shop Mom hi. We're getting rid of the needle bearings. There's still going to be roller bearings, but check this out. This isn't a commercial. I said this. I'm actually filming my other cameras over here. So some of y'all may see this. I think on Tuesday will be a how to rebuild your rocker video. If you can see, there's I'm set up, and we'll go over here and this is what's been my afternoon shooting videos in the balance room. Um, Thought I'd just do that anyway. I don't know about the Honda K20 and K24. I love Hondas. Anything on Honda is just amazing. All right, Texas Speed. This isn't a commercial for Texas Speed. Don't get anything from them. They don't even know who I am. But www.texasspeed.com. I will freely, if I stop shaking the table, I will freely always talk about the stuff. If you've known me and Faye, we don't just want to be a commercial selling stuff. We're not selling anything at all. I mean, I've made zero money since I've started any of all this, besides all the money I've spent. That doesn't mean anything. That's not what I'm going at. I will freely talk about the products that I think people need to talk about, because this is the shit. I don't care. Demonetize me. I ain't getting paid. It doesn't matter. So they've never paid me, told me to do anything. I still tell you, there's plenty of kits, if you're in the LS world, to do your own upgrade on the rockers. And you're probably wondering, why would I want to upgrade my rocker when they sell an aftermarket rocker? Brian Tooley, there's people that are a lot smarter than I am, he can RPM 500 RPMs higher with his cam profile and rocker setup, with a factory rocker, and tried all the different kinds of rockers, and you can't beat this rocker if you do the upgrade to it. Some of the rockers are awesome, heavy duty, real heavy duty, a lot heavier too. 500 RPMs just in a stock LS rocker being modified as compared to an aftermarket rocker arm. So let me pay more money for an aftermarket rocker arm and lose 500 RPMs. Unsprung weight. What it is, your accelerating mass and decelerating mass. Getting crazy. I would go all over the place. This kit comes from Texas Speed, and it has everything in the kit. What I love about this kit is, instead of having the bearings that we just showed you that fall apart, and you're going to have these all over your engine if something were to happen, and if you're doing a race motor or performance motor, you may have valve float. Check this bearing out. Factory that I'm removing, that comes apart. The inner part is not part of the outer part, and then have all the bearings inside, but it just falls apart. Check this baby out. All sealed. There's actually an inner case, just like an actual, Timken bearing. Inner case, roller bearings, and it's sealed. It's sealed. It ain't gonna come apart. That inner thing, like roller bearings, we have to talk about roller bearings and stuff, and you know what I talk about, the inner case that holds all the needle bearings. Look at this dude. I don't know where to even look at. Yes, these are cool. You know what's cool? Is that a word? Cooler? Shop mom will come running out of the thing if I don't speak right proper English. This is Friday. Yes. Texas Speed. I'm from Texas. I'm going to talk about Texas Speed, not just because they're from Texas, because they make a good product. And like I said, this is just, here's the deal. Everybody out there has the same kits, and they're different prices. And you wonder, why am I going to pay for more than the other? You get what you pay for when you buy that kit from Texas Speed. It's a sealed bearing. And here's this. Can you see this? I don't know if you can or not. I don't know if it says made in the USA. That is a true bearing. There's part numbers on it. There's initials. My eyes can't see. I can clearly see made in the USA. It's a real bearing. Awesome is it's. Where do you get this stuff anymore? So you go out there on eBay or anywhere else and you look up everybody's kits and you wonder why everybody's kits have different prices. I've done some of these kits and they're all China stuff. I thought everybody was. I expected this to be a China bearing. I didn't expect this to be a made in the USA bearing. Just amazing. So you get what you pay for, but you're getting way more quality out of this kit. Also, here's another upgrade. Look at this puppy. You probably don't want to know about LS stuff. Should I ask y'all? I should just answer what y'all want instead of telling you what I want to see. Can you see that? Factory LS, Texas Speed. They say size don't matter. It does matter. It does. Oh, you love LS stuff. So I'm doing this just for this. How are you doing? We'll just talk LS for one person. That's great. That is just, look at that. Look at that. Now you're thinking, but Danny, you just told me about weight. You told me about weight and unsprung weight, acceleration of parts and deceleration of parts. We're not decelerating or accelerating or decelerating. I'm not. You don't go look at me for the how do you spell the words or how to pronounce them. Just don't. You're not looking at me for my face either. Old school ways. It's why you're coming here. Yes. Hey, Jessica, size definitely does matter. See, anybody else says size doesn't matter. There's a reason they're saying that. We know that. All right. So let's get. It's Friday. We're not monetized. We talk about anything. We're not accelerating and decelerating this part. This is the bolt down. This is the part that bolts to the head. So it's okay here to have extra weight. It's okay here to have a little extra weight. It's Christmas time, you know? Like I tell my grandkids, you know, I said, I can go across the street and get hit by a car. I may make it with this here, you know? If I was skinny, I may not survive. So there's two ways to look at everything. All right, so we're not accelerating and decelerating mass. This is the roller bearing part. Also, they only have the roller bearing part at the bottom. It's not a full circle. Remember we talked about how when you put it in there, somebody may not have been in the room, you see how when it turns, and one of the problems that they do have is when you start increasing the cam lift, we've gone past the cam lift, see? One of the problems already. So we have a quality piece, we have a very quality bearing, and then we have two of them bad dudes. Full roller bearings all the way around, full shaft diameter all the way around. What better do we have? Can it get any better? Can it get any better than this? C-clips. The factory one does not have C-clips. The bearings press on, done. You're gone. This presses on as well. It most definitely does. What's the difference? After it's all pressed on, we got C-clips to hold everything in. Do I need to go to C-clip etiquette? Do we need to talk about C-clips today? Y'all know the C-clip etiquette? Y'all know the rule on C-clips? Anybody? 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 But wait, there's more. Exactly. Exactly. Do I need to, would y'all like to know about C-clips? I don't know if C-clips are, like I said, this is my first beer, but I need to catch up. I need to catch up to Wade, I believe it was. I'm going to catch up. We haven't had a Pachanga Friday yet because I don't think Cherry's in the room. Let's learn about C-clips. Okay. Awesome. If one person wants to learn, that's all I need. Y'all have known me long enough. This is a little C-clip etiquette that, believe it or not, most people that I come across don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. The C-clip, it's coming down the assembly line. I don't know how to go this. And it's a piece of metal. And there's a stamp. And it's stamping out these C-clips out of a piece of metal. For all I know, it stamps out 100,000 a minute. I don't know. That doesn't matter. And stamp, 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 stamp. And all these C-clips are falling into a bucket and they go thrown in there. Okay. What happened in that process of stamping out the C-clip? One end of the C-clip is rounded. The stamp came in there. It's cookie time. It's Christmas time. Go make some cookies. And take your cookie cutter and push it down on the cookies. One side of the cookie is rounded on the top. The other side of the cookie is real sharp at the bottom. Because the cookie cutter went in. And as the cookie cutter went in, it rounded the edges going in till it finally broke through. And the bottom that was against the cookie tray stayed perfectly flat. That's a C-clip. Think of it as a cookie. Doesn't taste like a cookie, but think of it as a cookie. All right, so what did we just learn? As the C-clip was being manufactured, it was rounded on one end and sharp on the other end. It's real sharp. I don't know if I can shave with it, but it's pretty sharp on one end. Okay, what do we use a C-clip for? We use a C-clip to hold something in. So generally we have, in this particular instance, we have two slots that two C-clips go in, and then something floats in the center. It may be a shaft in a transmission that has a C-clip, and the backside may not have a C-clip, but once you put everything in, there's a C-clip that holds all your transmission parts in it. If you're doing an automatic, you drop in your drum with all your clutches, and what do? You got a C-clip, a big band clamp. That's the same thing. It may not be this type of C-clip, it's still a band clamp clip. It's a big clip with a tool. Same way, it got stamped out. It's gonna have a rounded edge, it's gonna have a sharp edge. If we're trying to keep something with two C-clips from moving back and forth in here, what is it doing? It's beating again, maybe not beating, it's pushing on these two ends. Would I put a C-clip in with the rounded ends aiming out? Or would I put the C-clip ends with the sharp ends aiming out? If I'm trying to keep something in from going out, why not put the C-clip with the sharp edge aiming out, not rounded? When you're doing a piston, it has a C-clip in it. Smokey is first one that came up with dual. How long is it going to go before I talked about Smokey? He put dual C. He was the first to do dual C-clips. You didn't realize that a piston pin actually gets beat quite a bit. It loads the side quite a bit, and he lost some C-clips. So he started going in with the dual C-clip, then a spiral lock, and so on and so forth. But if we put the rounded edge out, every time that it hits, it's rounded. So we're really, every time that it hits, we keep on rounding the edges of the groove. When they cut that groove that the C-clip goes in, it's nice and sharp, okay? If we put the sharp edges aiming out, put it in there, now we have a sharp edge against a sharp edge. It's nice and tight. When it hits it, it's actually hitting it nice and flat. And the rounded edge is aiming in. If we put the rounded edges aiming out, in time, it could wear out the grooves in whatever, the piston, whatever you're using, and it could actually enhance losing a C-clip. So, C-clip etiquette, always put the sharp ends out. Always put whatever you're trying to keep in, put the sharp ends out. I mean, to me, it makes kind of sense. If you're pushing something in, I'd want the rounded edge in my starting point to be rounded to make it easier to go in. I wouldn't put it in with the sharp ends going in. It would be very difficult to get it into a hole without putting a bevel, right? Because it's real sharp. I'd put the rounded ends in because it'd go in a lot easier. The same thing. I don't want stuff to go out. Put the sharp ends out. It doesn't like to go in the hole when it's sharp. All right. C-clip etiquette. I don't know. Maybe I went a little too far. This really is my first beer, but I've missed y'all. How is everybody? All right. I want to not talk about this anymore, but any questions? Anybody have any Christmas gifts? Somebody had a good choice, and I'm messing with the table, and Chama's going to run here. Stop touching the screen. Stop touching the screen. Somebody said something. Happy Pachanga Friday, Terry. All right. Grab another beer. I will have to have 2 beers now. And after that, then we're going to close. It's going to be a quick one. And it's weird. It's just my brother comes in the room and it's like, it's Pachanga Friday now. The weekend has begun. I'm hot. I'm sweating. Don't look at me because, like I said, you don't come looking at here for this. You come here to hopefully learn something and me rant and rave and stuff. Who watched the rant video? Anybody watch the rant video? Should I stop ranting? I do have a boring bar video. We will do some boring bar videos, some honing, some the machining videos. I have a rant update, but if nobody watched the rant video and no one even saw it, then I'm not going to even go into my rant update. I wanted to throw myself on the sword, and I will if y'all are willing to watch me rant on, sir. All right. I have something to say. The video was on honesty, and the intent was not, it seems like some people have focused on the plugs that I was talking about, the customer. I didn't mention the customer. I didn't even mention why the customer brought that block. I kind of figured the customer might see the video. I was hoping he'd take it in the right frame. I didn't use his name, didn't use his thing, didn't even use what started it all. It came in for something totally different. It did not come in for anything to do with that. It was a broken bolt in the bell housing. As I was loading it up to give it to the customer, because of the way that I am, I said, by the way, you're not really going to assemble this motor. You already got cam bearings in it. Somebody already put cam bearings in it, and there's still, all the oil plugs had never been removed. It's been hot tanked. It's been, all of this stuff's been done. I say this in the video. Excuse me. Did have a beer. And the point was on honesty. And I'm going to throw myself on the sword. And this is why. If I make a video on honesty, it's a touchy subject. Why wasn't I completely honest? See? We all can, it's a touchy subject. This is why I feel bad. The customer calls and said, "Wow, I didn't, you use I used him as an example, but I didn't use him. I just used the scenario." And he says, "Wow, that really did happen. We'll get into that in the second part of this rant if I have another beer or not." Um, and the point was, I'm throwing myself on the sword because if the video is about honesty, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Here's the deal. Did the bullshit meter fly up bulls? Like I said, I'm not getting monetized anyway, so it doesn't matter. Maybe one day. What did we say? What does Faye say? What does Shaman? The bullships? Did the bullships meter go up with the answer that I heard? Yes, it did. Why wasn't I on? This is me throwing. No one told me this. No one isn't that. But I'm worse on me than anybody else. Um, why didn't I tell the customer bullshit? I don't believe you. It was we were already loading him up. He was about to leave. Um, the meter went up. I felt it. I felt. I don't believe that. That was the point, and I'm not using that to the customer was hurt. That I use his motor as that example, the motor doesn't matter. The point was to be honest with your shop, not oil plugs, who pulled them out, who didn't pull them out, why. It was the point of be honest with your shop. They can help you. And my what I'm feeling was, wow, did I tell the customer, you know what, hey, whoa, come on, they didn't pull them out? So how honest was I to the customer? Because he called and said, you didn't say anything. You just said, oh, make sure you get him out. And that's why I think, was felt. So it's in feelings. We all have feelings, and they all get hurt. And the problem is, in today's days, we don't care about other people's feelings. And I'm feeling really, real bad. Once again, I wasn't honest as a shop owner. I was polite. I was politically correct. I was like, don't offend the customer. Don't whatever. The point being, it was that honest. Honest, I could have told him, hey, bud, come on. You know, and I didn't. I just whatever. And I saw a long answer, so I don't know. I think it might be. Um, I think this is important because I'm feeling really bad. Company needs to provide as much as possible. The machine is the person's service advisor. Yes, it's like the video. If you so, I almost want to take the video down and I want to redo it because not everybody, but some people did focus on the oil plugs and whatever, and that wasn't the point. Like I said, it never even came in for that. The thing was on honesty. So anyway, that's the thing. We can all be honest. It benefit. What is it? If you watch the video? Who's it benefit? It benefits you. It benefits you. I mean, if you don't tell me what's going on, and I spend 3 or 4 hours diagnosing something else because I'm just in a cloud, it's going to cost you more money. I may not even find what it is. The odds are I am but most people at other shops, they're in and out. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. You give me a little clue, we're gonna fix it. And you come back later and you go, hey, my rods are still knocking, or my valves are still clattering. Well, guess what? It was the valve heights and the valve geometry was wrong. But we assumed it was oil pressure. You didn't give enough info. I don't know. All that being said, the most important part is I wasn't being honest, and I want to just be honest. The honesty is not just in the customer needs to be honest, most definitely. I just, like I said, did I tell him? I don't, no, that don't make any sense. 1 and 1 equals 2 every day. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right. I feel a little better. I wanted to just come on video and just do a live right now and say, hey, look, I wanted to take it off too. A lot of people do like that video. It's one of the best videos. So, but the point is that it wasn't about the customer. It wasn't about the engine. It was generally with good intent, and even good intent without being honest comes off not genuine, and that's the way I felt, not genuine. So I do feel better. I've been dying to get that out. I've been dying to go to confession. I'm not even a Catholic, so y'all are a priest in your little things. I guess y'all could be in a little closet because I don't know who y'all are, but I know who you are. But is that never mind. Never mind. We're not going to religion again. That's twice in this one. We're talking about religion. Look, even the phone is shaking. Oh, all right. I got to catch up because Terry, I got one more to drink with Terry. Yes, sir. Jesus is here. Jesus also. Yes, sir. Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. While our knees keep knocking, those keep a rocking. So that's what it is. That's what I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. LS the rockers. I'm pressing them on right now. Maybe I'll keep pressing them on while I'm talking to y'all. Um, I'm really through. Shop mom said I'm through. Um, I just really miss y'all. So, does anybody have anything that I missed earlier without touching the screen? If you just say yes, I'll go back and find it. If not, I don't want to. I didn't bring my iPad. I wasn't planning this, and I really wanted to come on here. I've been dying to fess up that I wasn't honest. Good intent does not. People make all kinds of things have been done in good intent. So I did have good intent, but in ranting, I even didn't follow my own. It's not a rule. Anyway, okay. Thank you, Edward. Aluminum heads, how bad? Oh, aluminum heads are awesome. We're gonna go to another subject. You gonna get me going on aluminum heads? Oh no, Danny, my dad used to say when you go to. Okay, I want to hear something. That means more to me right there. Sorry. Oops. Oops. I don't know what I did. Report. Cancel. Okay, I want to hear that one because I'm an old school guy and I like dad stories. I haven't seen my dad in 20 years. Don't make me cry now. So I want to hear what your dad did because I can live. I can vicariously whatever live through your dad. I don't know. My dad used to say when you go to the machine shop, all the information. Don't do that to me. Damn it. Sorry. Damn it. I wish I had auto read. We go to the machine shop. The key is what you need to have done. Don't waste the machine shop's time if you don't have all the information. Awesome. It is true. It's just true. They're trying to make a living as well. I know a lot of shops grew up in this business, and like I said in the video, I don't know. Really, honestly, I don't know anybody who's just out to steal money or to. They really machine shop business is a tough business these days. I could do a whole other video and a whole other rant of who killed the machine shop. Who killed the machine shop is everybody who goes to the junkyard and buys LSs and all the Miata guys and all of the guys who says, what, I'm not going to buy that. I can get a Jasper motor, Jegs and Summit. I'm not going to get one board. I can just buy another one. Well, guess what? Now when you want to get something board, there's no local machine shops because you got Jegs and Summit and everybody else, and I'm not ragging on Jegs and Summit. One day maybe they'll be a sponsor. I don't know. So that is, it's a tough one. I really don't know anybody in my realm. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas. I know a lot of shop owners. My mom, my parents are shop owners. I grew up in this business. They have a CarQuest store. I really, really, a lot of the shop owners are kids of my age as well who grew up in the business, who now are running the business that their dad had or their parents had. I generally don't know a lot of people who really just want to swindle or take your money. Some people, money's money, and the books are you're paying an employee. My mom, I don't want to tell you what her payroll is. She has 18 employees in the shop. They're the payroll every Friday. Yes, they do have to keep the guys going. You're not going to be in business, and what is it? You can't help anybody if your doors are closed. So if you want to be in the long haul, you got to be profitable enough to stay profitable. I mean, you're not doing this. I can go work for somebody else and make more money. So I understand in a big environment, we got to keep the pace moving a little bit faster. So we don't have the time to look at everything that has nothing to do with what you brought in. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I got an LS motor we're doing right now. I'm doing these rockers for right now. It had a stripped bolt in the motor mount hole. This customer bought a motor online from a salvage yard, guaranteed, blah, 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 complete motor, wiring harness, everything for his build. He's put it into a BMW. It comes in. The first thing that we notice, is it's been dropped on the valve cover, and one valve cover was cleaner than the other side. Okay, it comes in a pallet, we get it, we take it apart. Well, we get that valve cover off, and two valves are broken over. They dropped it from a forklift or something. It landed on the valve cover and broke two valve guides. Two valves are bent over, springs. They put another valve cover on it, and they sold them this motor. So we don't know anything about this motor. I'm actually, looking out for that. I'm not looking out for him. It affects the whole build. So there was a strip bolt in one of the motor mount bolts. He didn't pull this out of his car. He's put it into a BMW. He bought this from a salvage yard. So I put a helical in it. Didn't even get an okay. Our customers are a little bit different. There's some that we end up crossing those paths, and we probably aren't going to be their we're going to cross paths right now. This is a small shop. I don't necessarily have the time to every little thing I find, like a helical, 1750, 2050. I don't know what the prices aren't to call you and stop what we're doing. What did I tell? Hey, put a helical in it. I already know this customer. This is Corky Bell. He wrote the book on turbocharging. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's very, very frugal. He came in and we had to put everything itemized down before we had to come in for a meeting just to see how it looked when we took it apart. He came in for another meeting, how it looks once we estimated it. He came into a meeting, what are we going to do to get us from point A to point B? He's going to go turbocharge. He's going to be turbocharged in a BMW. All that being said, it would take me longer to stop, to shop mom, go, call, get an okay, put a helical in. If I have to stop every moment for a small part like that, it's just not really the shop you need to be in. You need to go to a shop that they're just going in and out, wham, bam. So this is a smaller shop. It's a little bit different. All our clientele know. It's no secret. It's no secret. We're the most expensive shop around. That I'm not proud of that. It's just what it takes to do stuff. It's no secret. You can buy a crate motor for what it takes. What the last one that we did, he bought a crate motor. It was a lot faster. It was a lot faster. 383 stroker off of eBay, one of these great crate companies. Boom, boom, boom. $8,000 for this crate motor. It cost more to fix it. It never even ran, but he could tell the way it looked, and it was China heads, China bolts, China everything. I don't mean go all there, but it wasn't, not one part had an actual name brand on it. ARP, what's that? So we actually got into it and pulled the oil pan to look what's inside, pull the valve covers. The valves were adjusted like crazy. Got into it, did all the work we had to do, but we didn't pull it all the way apart, pull the cam all out. He bought this motor for that. He wanted us to just look at it. By the time we fixed the things that we saw, we had it on the run stand. Did y'all see my video when we were filling up with water? And water just pouring out of the water pump. It has a front runner setup on it. Nice, fancy front runner setup. I'm filling out the water on the run stand and water just pouring out of the water pump. You would think, who can I put a Chevy water pump on? Well, it's on the run stand, ready to go. Drain the water and pull the whole front of the motor off. It's the front runner setup because of the two gaskets. Well, what did we find out? They had a power steering pump over here that kind of slid in with the water pump. And once you tightened it up, it didn't let the water pump tighten. We had to machine the spacer in the back of the power steering pump bracket they had because it was holding the water pump from tightening up. So we had to machine that. That's why it wasn't getting tight. And that's why I could tell the gasket wasn't even squeezed. They had a buttload. That's a lot, but that's just if you all don't know, of silicone. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but I am going to get back to the aluminum head because I'll talk about aluminum heads all day long, or oil, or food, or beer, or cigars. All right. Anybody else with me? I don't see the screen doing anything, so I'm not going to touch the screen. But I see 31 people are still here, so somebody must be listening. Terry, are you here? Say something. Say, okay, somebody. Hello. Hello. I think everybody's gone. Oh, all right, Lon. Thank you. Hi. Whew. Somebody's still here. Nutty Buddy. I still do love Nutty Buddies. I'm still here. Hi, there you go. All right. Scroll up. I'm sorry. I try not to touch the screen because then Shop Mom comes in here and does that. Mars attacks. Everybody's still here. Thank y'all. I try not to touch the screen. Like I said, I got better at this, and we put an iPad so that way we can read everything. We're really missing our live streams, and if now that we got 33 people in here, we're back. We're back on Wednesday, the 23rd. We're doing a Christmas special. We may take it outside. Have you seen Faye's car? Anybody? So we may be doing an outside thing. We've been social distancing. Here's Shop Mom, so she's not going to social distance. Everyone wants to see Shop Mom. Come here, give me a kiss.
Yeah, that ain't happening. Terry wants you to talk about your favorite taco joint, but I think you should tell Terry about homemade tamales.
Oh, homemade tamales.
Or
uh,
tamales.
tamales. Okay, Terry, I wish we could send you some, but we tried sending them to. We sent them to California.
We can't. But he's in Germany.
I know we can't send them to Germany. I know. I know.
We're not sending them to Germany.
We're gonna save you some.
We'll send you a picture.
I'll send you a picture. I can. Well, I can't even show you pictures because they're on my camera.
Okay, but you had said 15 minutes, and you're past your 15 minutes.
I'm past my 15 minutes. Can you do me a favor, shot mom?
Yes.
I hate asking. There's one of these in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yes, because Terry's here. I'm gonna have one more beer and that's it, and we're done.
Terry's there. I told him you were there.
Thank you. I'm glad shot mom told Terry that we were there. And tamales. So we're gonna talk about tamales, but I also want to talk about. It's hot in here. Where are you going in the video on using a push rod link tool? Oh, as soon as I'm done, right now I have like 5-6 videos that I'm working on, and I'm trying to get those done. I am dying to talk lifter preload. That's one of the most important things. Here's the problem. I can't talk lifter preload until we talk
Where's the opener?
it's hanging the yellow board there. You can just, I'll go get it.
Yo te lo traigo.
No, I got an LS rocker. We're Mexican. Here we go. Jeez, there. Until we know clearance. Do you know what lash is? If you don't know what lash is, we got to talk clearance before we can talk lash and preload. So y'all may know. We'll get there. We'll get there. That's one of my. But see, and thank you. Look at this old school. Hey Terry, look at this. Old school. Thanks, shot mom. So we'll talk tamales. We'll talk. I do want to get back to the aluminum cylinder heads, and we'll get into valve lash. We'll get into load. We'll get into all of that. I'm really like that. If I look at my stats, I have long videos, so I try to make mine shorter. Just the last couple of them, stats all went down. It seems that people watch longer videos because I'm actually doing something or saying something. So I vacillate back and forth. Keep it quick and simple, or skip over the important things. So I try to do the important things. I'm always have 3 openers on me. Well, I don't. Hey, I could have used my in training thing. You remember when your uncle used to take a screwdriver and just pop it like that? All right. So we're gonna make it quick because I got one beer left, and I did want to get into the cylinder heads because I really this is an important thing that y'all may not know. And you're gonna come to this crossroads in your life of, do I put an aluminum head or a cast iron head? You will come to this crossroad. You will have to make this decision, and I want to help you make this decision after I have a cold beer. Okay. Aluminum heads, when I was growing up, weren't around. The first aluminum heads that came into the shop was the Mercedes head. And then we started seeing all the imports. But American cars just weren't there. In the performance realm of the world, we didn't have an aluminum head. We couldn't afford it. Everybody thinks that my mom owns one of the biggest machine shops and auto parts in San Antonio. And it's like, man, you're so lucky. All my buddies, I had another friend of mine that his parents owned Luna's Auto Parts, and my parents owned R&L at the time. And then we were going to Holmes High School. And so, you're the same age. He's driving a brand new Trans Am. I graduated in 81, so this is probably maybe 79 ish. Driving a Smoking and Bandit Trans Am, whatever. He's got the Trans Am, he's got everything else. I'm driving a Duster. I drove a 100 motorcycle for the longest part when I was a kid, and then I moved up. But here I am driving a Duster. Anyway, I don't know why I'm going with this, and it doesn't matter. But everybody thought, man, your mom owns an auto parts. All that meant is I may have had access to the stuff. I didn't have. It wasn't given to me. His parents owned auto parts, and they gave him everything in the world. Like I said, if you had heard the story or not before, when I was a kid, I wanted a bicycle and a BB gun. If you heard the story or not, I wanted a bicycle and a BB gun, and all my friends were going to come over, and we were going to go ride through the woods and shoot birds and ride our horses, and we had it planned, about 5 of us, and all just before Christmas. I looked all throughout the house. Y'all, you know what I'm talking about. Closets everywhere you get. No. There's a box underneath the tree, and well, I'm thinking, there's a box. You can open up the box, and it's going to say, Go look in another room, or go look something. There's your bicycle, or there wasn't no boxes that looked like a daisy. It was yes, it was a Daisy Red Ryder BB gun. This is what we grew up with. That's just anywho. Christmas comes around, and I open up my Christmas gift, thinking it's going to be pointing me to another box, another something, and instead, it's a shoe shine box with kiwi brown shoe shine, big brown kiwi shoe shine, black kiwi shoe shine, one of those little things, a buffer thing, a little thing to put it on, and a box where you put your foot on top, and there's 2 drawers on its side for all your stuff. It was a nice shoe shine box. And I'm like, where's the bicycle? Where's the BB gun? It says, with that shoe shine box, you can buy yourself any BB gun you want and any bicycle you want. Merry Christmas. Well, as a kid, you think, wow, I just watched the Scrooge. I just thought, what in the world? My friends come up. I wanted to tell them I'm sick. You don't want to be the laughing stock with all your friends. Well, they come to the door. They all got their bicycles. They all got their BB guns. I ain't got a shoe shine box. So instead, we go out there and we build a bike. We go out there and, I'm sure, hey, my old bike, my sister's bike, my whatever. We throw together a bike and somebody's BB gun or whatever, and I ride with my buds. Buds are cool. They'll get you through this. But inside, you really, really, you just think you're just, well, come the next day, everybody's off for Christmas holidays. And they're off, and they're, like I said, we had it planned. We were going to the woods. We lived right by the ditch, and the ditch rode up to the woods, and we were going to, man, we had it the whole week planned. I'm going to work. So I was a little kid, and I'm going to work, and we get to the auto parts store. You couldn't get away with this these days. And next door is a Piggly Wiggly. And if you're from Texas or from places where Piggly Wiggly, we just saw a movie the other day and it said Piggly Wiggly. So people may know who Piggly Wiggly is, if not HEB or whatever, but it was Piggly Wiggly. Next door, across the street, next to the auto parts. My mom takes me over there first thing in the morning, real early in the morning, before the auto parts opens up, puts me in the front of the door and says, every man that comes out, you ask him, shoe shine? I had a speech impediment. I still do, kind of. I'm doing a lot better now. You're wondering, wow, this is really amazing for me because, anywho, as a kid, you would never hear me say 2 words. You probably heard me say 2 words, but over and over and over and over again. Speech impediment, you know what I'm talking about? So, anywho, I never talked. And you're going to set me in front of a Piggly Wiggly and ask everybody. It took me a half hour to ask him that. I mean, really, I had a speech impediment. I mean, it really was the cruelest thing you could do to a kid. I thought. And so that being said, I don't know where we're going. Oh, it's Christmas now. I was going to have a beer. I don't know it's going to be crying in my beer. I'm a better man for it. What did my mom say? You turned out pretty good, didn't you? So maybe it was a cruel way. I think of Johnny Cash, I think of the boy man Sue? He named his kid Sue because he knew he wasn't going to be there. And he knew everybody was going to kick his butt, so he wanted to make him a tough guy. Tough love is back in the day. We didn't have, you wouldn't take your kid and drop him off at a store nowadays. You'd be in jail. You'd be in jail if you took your kid and dropped him off at the store and said, you can come back to the auto parts at lunch, and then you go back. End of the day, you could come back. Well, let me tell you something. If I made $1.50 that day, you're charging 5 cents, 10 cents, 50 cents to shine a shoe, and you're buffing a shoe. Everybody wore shoes, and everybody did shoe shines back in the day. I got really good at it. When I got in the Army, I was really good at it. But as a kid, I got real good at it. You know what? I didn't go back into the Piggly Wiggly and buy candy. I worked all day long. I wasn't going to turn around and go back in that store and buy a candy bar. It did work. I mean, I don't know where I went with that, and I am sorry about that. But aluminum heads. Where are we going to go with aluminum heads? Once this beer's gone, I'm out of here. All righty. So that's a true story. Not a bad story, just a true story. Crossroads of aluminum heads. This is why it's going to happen. They come down in price, and they're very expensive now. So they're actually in the realm of if your cylinder heads are cracked on your vehicle, a lot of times, a little bit more, you can get an aluminum head. That's not why we're going to even discuss aluminum head in this sense. Did you know that an aluminum head extracts heat from the cylinder. So let's go talk about for a little bit while I'm drinking my beer that, and thank you, that all that has to do with an engine and everything is relevant, but it all boils down to one thing that we don't realize. Octane. Mad Max, man. All boils down to Mad Max. All right. So octane is what it all really boils down to. And the reason being is because we tune for the octane. We're very fortunate that now our cars self-tune. So you don't have to go to a garage and he has to tune it for you. You don't have to change jets in the carburetor. You don't have to mess with the timing like back in the day. The computer controls all of that. So we can be tuned for maximum efficiency and performance. That being said, it all goes down to octane. Do y'all know what octane is? Octane. What is a beautiful way to think of? I say beautiful. You might not think of beautiful. Octane, beauty. I do. What's the beautiful way to think of octane? Octane is no more than the BTUs that it takes to react that fuel. Okay, Smokey used the word react. Combust the fuel. If something, I don't want to talk, and I don't want to talk big words because I don't know big words. But if you start studying Smokey, you start using the correct terminology because of what it does. For fuel to react equals for fuel to combust. So for the reaction to happen, we need heat. Heat is British thermal, whatever, BTUs, British thermal units. There we go. So heat. The higher the octane, the more BTUs it takes for the fuel to react. The higher the octane, the more heat that it needs to combust. Okay, so put in a higher octane fuel in your cylinder and you won't have pre-ignition and detonation. What is pre-ignition and what is detonation? As the piston is coming up to top dead center, it's compressing the air and fuel mixture. As the air and fuel mixture are being compressed, a byproduct of compression is heat. Go to an air compressor that's in your garage, in your shop, anywhere. If you don't have one, go to Discount Tire, look around and run up to the air compressor and touch it. Don't do that. It's going to burn you. It's hot. And you're thinking, why is air hot? Why is my air tank hot? It's not the electric motor heating up the air tank. Okay? A byproduct of compression is heat. Okay? When we compress the molecules and the area is this big, where the piston is going up, 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 up. The valves have closed. Kind of looks like God in my hand. No. Anyway, it's going up. The area is getting smaller. The molecules now start bouncing around and they're getting excited. Ooh, like me, I'm getting excited right now talking about this. And the area is getting smaller and smaller. And they start accelerating and speeding up faster and faster and faster, and they're getting under a lot of pressure. And the reason that a byproduct of compression is heat is because the molecules are beating off the cylinder walls. That friction is making heat. I mean, I've gone a long way, but I broke it down to now what you understand, right? So as we compress fuel, a byproduct is heat. Okay, heat. What do we learn? Y'all are probably gonna start now kicking the answers here. You're gonna be under pressure. Heat is increasing in the cylinder, correct? If the cylinder temperature reaches or passes our BTUs, what's BTUs? Octane rating of our fuel, right? But you might not know octane rating, so you might think it's irrelevant. So a 90 octane fuel takes more heat to ignite it than an 80 octane fuel. Once our cylinder temperature has reached or surpassed the BTU rating of our fuel, what did we just do? What did Smokey say? The fuel reacted. The fuel reacted. It exploded. It combusted, which is what we want. The point being, we want it timed. We want to be in control. Danny wants to be in control. If Danny's not in control, he's not happy. So if the piston goes up to top dead center, once it gets past the pivot point, That's when I want to push the piston down. So I want a controlled burn. I want the piston to go up to highest cylinder pressure. At the moment that I decide, fire the spark plug, reaction happens, the spark plug ignites the fuel, not the cylinder temperature. It was close. It was right there. It was ready. It was primed. The spark plug fire. You think a little bitty spark plug is going to burn all that gas? Right? Think about it. Well, we were already primed. We were ready. The date has begun. We're there. We're so close that anything's going to set it off. You know what I'm talking about? So right there, the spark hits, bam, out the other side. We got power. The problem is when the piston is going up, the cylinder temperature starts to rise. If we exceed our BTU rating of our fuel, we have what's called detonation, pre-ignition. Y'all may know it as yeah, that's right. No one wants to get there too soon. No one's happy. If it happens in an engine, just like if it happens at home, no one's happy. So what's going to happen? The cylinder fuel is going to ignite, but the piston hasn't reached its pivot point. We're still going in, and you're trying to push me out. Nobody happy. Nobody's happy, and you're going to break a ringland. You're going to have all kinds of issues. We need to make sure the piston gets past the pivot point. Once it's past the pivot point, I want it to release and push that son of a biscuits down the other side. I don't want to push it that way. You know why? Because the crankshaft's turning, because I got 7 other cylinders are trying to do the same thing. So pre-ignition or detonation is when the heat ignited the fuel, not the spark plug. We're no longer in control. That's grenade. We don't want that. Because there's a sweet spot. There's a holy grail number. After top dead center is where we want a full cylinder PSI. You move it by 1 degree and you will lose a bunch of horsepower. I wish I could tell you that holy grail number. Well, if one of these days somebody will ask my question and we'll get there. But anyway, all right. All that, and you're going, why? We're talking about aluminum cylinder heads. Yes, we are. Okay. Because of all of this that I just said, a cast iron head and cast iron parts are going to mean I got to do 2 things if my cylinder pressure gets too high. I got to throw money at it. I tell everybody, you love throwing money at it, which is fine. My wallet don't have that lot of money to be throwing at it. What does that throwing money at it mean? It means you're throwing octane at it. That's a Band-Aid. It's a big old Band-Aid for your car. Let me just go throw a lot of octane to it because I'm not in control. It's pre-igniting. I don't know what's going on. Please help me, God. Throw a lot of octane in it. So what? So that now the cylinder can go all the way up the top to the center and then the spark plug can fire. There is something wrong with having too much octane that you don't need. You lose horsepower. There's actually more energy in volatile fuel in low octane than high octane fuel. We won't go there. It's another whole other subject. Okay, but I want to make power. And yet I can only get 9.5 to 1 compression out of Shell V-Power, or let's say wherever you may be in the world, out of a pump gas. So out of a pump gas, I can only get 9.5 to 1 compression. That's static compression before I compress the fuel. Do y'all know that? We can go all into compression. That's what the compression is, static. Static means the dome on the piston, the flat top, the chamber. Do all the math. That's 9.5 to 1 compression. Then we start to compress the engine. We start to compress all the fuel. So 9.5 to 1, sometimes 9. We live in Texas. Our ambient air temperature, we already got the ambient air temperature in the cylinder way hotter than y'all do up north. So up north, y'all don't need the high octane fuel like we do. Why? You have cooler fuel. You're starting off with a cooler temperature in the cylinder before the intake valve even closed. That's why, like Gelbank says, thou shalt not get air from under your hood. Why do you want to get that hot air before you even start and put it in the cylinder? Take outside air. That's all. I can go on and 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 on. All right. Where was I? Okay. We are 9.5 to 1 is the most if you know how to tune. If you know how to tune, we can go 9.5. We can push it a little bit by knowing how to tune and run that on pump gas. What if? What if we put an aluminum cylinder head on it? The aluminum cylinder head, I saw this earlier and I wanted to just go on there, but I wanted to get to this point and I go all over the place. You really got to stay focused. I don't know if y'all can drink and listen to me or not, or maybe you need to drink and listen to me. But when y'all had it, you're exactly right. The aluminum head dissipates heat way better than a cast iron head. So just because the head is aluminum, we're pulling heat from the cylinder. It'll actually drop the cylinder temperature. Sometimes it can be too much. We won't even go there because you think about it. There's no such thing as too much cool cylinder, but let's not go there. It will drop the cylinder temperature just by doing aluminum head because aluminum dissipates heat way better. What does that mean, dissipate heat? I go all over the place, don't I? Dissipate heat means it gets it from the cylinder, it runs it through the aluminum and puts it to the coolant. Okay? Coolant is flowing on the inside of the head, and that heat transferred right from that aluminum right to the coolant, to the water. I'm going to use water because don't ever put straight water unless you got a race car, to the radiator and releases it to atmosphere because we don't know what to do with heat. We'll get into that if you know about the hot vapor engine and smoke unit. That's energy you just wasted, but we won't go there because that's not what the point of this is. Not Americans, engineers don't know how to deal with heat, so they take it and remove it to the radiator and they get rid of it because they don't know how to deal with it. That's a whole other subject. Okay, so aluminum dissipates heat better, so we can run 10.5 to 1 by doing nothing else. So here's an example of me putting an aluminum head on an engine, not for performance at all, essentially for a little bit, but I'm not putting aluminum head on because of the better intake port, the bigger valves. That's all plus. Before, we used to use the aluminum head just for airflow. Go to aluminum head, aftermarket head for more airflow means more horsepower. Now we're using aluminum heads in street cars that the guy's not even going to race it. But we come down, we figure out what is his goals, what are you doing? I sit down and talk to him. Do you want to spend this amount of money one time or all the time? So sometimes an aluminum cylinder head will pay itself off very quickly. Within a year or two, there's some things that you do in an engine. Oh yeah, the return on investment. 22 years later, you paid for that, part that you bought, those high dollar roller rockers, titanium, whatever. No, you never paid for it 22 years later or 8 years later. A cylinder head, really a year or two, just in the gas that you put in. So every time you go to the gas pump, you're feeling that return on your investment. That return on your investment feels good. As opposed to, like I tell people, throw money at it every gas pump. There's two ways we can deal with this. Throw a Band-Aid on it, or we can deal with what's really happening in the motor. So an aluminum cylinder head will allow us to run 10.5 to 1 on the same gas we're running before. So while the guy wanted to make more power, I didn't make him go spend more money on gas. I'll make a low-octane fuel motor run like crazy once I find out what the customer needs. If I have the money for the fuel and the aluminum heads and put 13-to-1 compression, we're going to do it. But that was the point being, is we use an aluminum cylinder head now. We do a lot of street motors that are really an RV, a pulling truck. And we'll put a set of aluminum heads on a tow vehicle, not because we're going to, it was for the point of putting in the lowest octane gas on a daily basis because it's a commercial use truck. And yet it has a set of aluminum heads on it. All right. That was a good question. I don't think I was going to go there. All right. I didn't lose anybody. We had 32 people still up. So, hey, that's okay. Thanks for that question. And I don't know if I went around too long or too far away or whatever. I don't know. All right, Terry. I got a half one, Terry. Can we talk about tamales now? I had a question about aluminum head, so I had to go that first. I like Adelita for the masa in San Antonio. Teca Molina for the little bean cups. We can go on and on and on and on and on. El Jarro de Arturo has a great botana platter. Let's not go there. I know that we're going to get past this and we're all going to come together and we're going to throw a pachanga party that no one's ever seen. It's going to be so much great food. That is happening. So we've got to look forward to that. The tamales are coming out good. If anybody knows me, hopefully it will be the next summer. And hopefully that'll be the perfect time. We're throwing a crazy party. Everybody's invited. Really, we're really, really. We will put awnings up and everything. Anyway, we've been making tamales. My family comes from the valley. In Texas, the valley is the lowest part of Texas you can go. Any further than you'd be in Mexico. And on my mother's side, my father's side comes from Lockhart, where all the barbecue comes from. So my father's side is Lockhart, way back, way back. Even to the history of some of the greatest barbecue places in Lockhart. And if y'all look up Lockhart, if y'all look up barbecue, Texas barbecue, you'll know how important Lockhart is to Texas barbecue. My dad actually worked there as a kid, so the Solisas come from Lockhart. The Garzas is as chief, and my mom and my aunt and uncles all come from the valley. Well, anyway, my grandmother, right on this side of the border, started grinding corn. My grandfather would grow corn. My grandmother would grind corn, and the dynasty was started. Go look up the Alba Bakery. You can order. Anybody want some of traditional stuff that we grew up with? Go look up the Alba Bakery. They deliver. You can go on it right now, click on it, and get anything delivered, and you'll have it by Christmas. Get you a dozen tamales. I should actually call my aunt and get a link and say, can we get a special for the? So anyway, we're making them homemade the way my grandmother did it. My aunt has the Alba Bakery and has all the tamales. I'm telling everybody to go
To the Alba, Dealba.
Did you hear that?
2 words, Dealba, the Alba.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? The Alba, 2 words.
Of course they can hear it.
Of course they can hear it.
Like, people always call me sir because they can hear me. Edward says if you keep talking about tamales, everybody's going to leave to go eat, so.
Well, we're done. So I want everybody to go eat and the Alba. It's DEALBA. ALBA.
The Alba.
The Alba. Just type in the Alba, and when you see
The Alba in McAllen.
in McAllen, Texas, they deliver. You'll have them in time.
Get the cream cheese.
The bakery, Elaine, my aunt has her own cream cheese tamale. So you don't have to have the traditional pork. Some of y'all might not be pork. She's got bean. She's got dessert tamales.
She's got chocolate tamales.
She's got chocolate tamales.
She has Oaxacan tamales.
Oaxacan tamales.
She has lots of tamales.
Lots of tamales. Besides all the bakery goods. It's weird. Last year,
Her tres leches cake.
Tres Leches cake. One of our customers that we built that Hemi, that polished Hemi, he brought us a gift last Christmas. He ordered the Alba tamales. They've been ordering. I go, man, we heard about you. Because we've been buying them. My wife loves them. And the desserts. So he bought us a dessert box, a gift box from my own aunts. Anyway, you can look them up. If nothing else, just go and look at the. Yes, there you go. Look up their beautiful. My aunt's an artist. Anyway, on our side, on the Garza side, corn has made a dynasty. There's if you're ever in Harlingen, the original Garzas. My other aunt Eva has the original Garzas, and then my aunt Dora has the Albas, and she's got several the Albas. Anyway, Shop Mama is way cooler than Charlie from Charlie's Angels. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She lets me do this. She literally runs the place. Really, literally runs this place. I would not. I get to be the artist. I'm very fortunate. Very fortunate. I tell everybody, Jessica, if you're still here, we just discussed this on the counter with one of my customers today, and he said, not this customer, another customer has asked, how do you work with your wife all day? Oh my God, of course. He's out hunting, fishing, doing everything in the world to not be home, and he's like, how do you work with your wife all day long? And you know what my answer is? You didn't marry your best friend? It's not work. It's work. Work. Look up work. I don't know if there's in the definition of this says fun next to work. I mean, we make it fun, but it's work. It's work. I'd rather be home. I bake cakes. I'd rather be home, building models. I build models. I'd rather be, actually, not, I'd rather be here, but point being my answer was real simple. You didn't marry your best friend? Don't get in a relationship because it's convenient. It's gonna bite you in the butt. Before long, you're not gonna want to be with each other. I mean, I don't know. This isn't a relationship video. Marry your best friend, or don't get married. Whatever. Look at Goldie Hawn and was it Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Whatever. The point being is if you have your soulmate, your partner, it's like it's fun every day. It's fun. I'm not saying. Don't get me wrong. This is what came up in the counter today. I'm not saying every day is a piece of cake because it's not. But it is a piece of cake. It may not always have frosting on it. There you go. You know what I mean. All right. I'm going to get ready. Overbuilt automotive. I like that. Overbuilt automotive. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like that. Overbuilt automotive. My own best friends. The only one who could handle my shit. There you go. And who can, like I said, if you can be yourself with somebody, the first date's easy. Oh my God, the first week is easy. The first month is easy. I mean, golly, you could be the nicest person. Why? Because you want something. I mean, you want the food. I mean, whatever you know what I'm talking about. You know, everything is just this beautiful realm of fun and dandies and yes ma'am and pull out the chair. How is it in a year from now? How is it after a while? How is it when you're not in a good mood? So that being said, anybody can make you laugh and do everything for a little bit. If you play the game and you're not who you are, and you're just doing this because trying to get that date or trying to get whatever, you're gonna get what you want. But the thing about it is, it may turn into something, and you were never who you really were supposed to be. I met Shop Mom at the races. So that being said, okay. Anyway, Delva Baker, yes. Hey, Bob, Terry's still here. Terry, I'm almost done. I'm going to stop talking so I can drink. So.
Okay, but there's a question that's been asked a couple of times that I guess you've missed.
Yes, I have missed. Tell me, Shaban, tell me.
Okay, Buick 455 oiling problem. When the oil gets hot, it has a lifter. I'm not reading it right now. A lifter noise on one side. Any suggestions?
Yes. Okay, Buick 455. So it runs good when it's cold. It runs good everything else. I need to know a little more info, but I can give you some suggestions right now. What I'm already thinking. The Buick has a big main and a big rod. What oil clearances is this? A freshly built motor, or is this a motor that you've had for a while and it just now starting to go south on you? So that would be a big thing. I'm not. Excuse me, I'm drinking. I'm not. I don't like band-aids, but I also listen to a motor and give the motor what it wants. Yes, and it will. And you know what I say? I don't want to go back to the Buick question. I tell friends that I don't want to get into religion. I don't want to get into that. But when you ask God or Jesus for help, He has a sense of humor that is a little bit different than what we may think. So the one thing I never do from Bible study, I remember, the one thing I never do is ask God. I never pray for patience. You know why? I think God is like a mom. And you think the answer is going to be like, hey, I want a bicycle and I want a gun. I'm going to give you the gun, right? I'm giving you what you want. No. I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to give you a shoebox. And with that, you can buy anything you want. Every gun you want. It's like I said, don't give a man a fish. Show him how to fish. So the same way, when you ask for patience, how's God going to give you patience? He is going to bring so many things your way because He's going to build patience in you. So one thing don't ever do is God, give me, pray for patience, because He's going to give you scenarios that are going to make you patient. It's going to be a lesson learned. It's not going to be, everybody thinks when I'm going to pray and God, here's $100 bill just fell. God, I prayed for money and $100 bill just came down. No, you may pray, God, that you need money, and all of a sudden, knock, knock, or something. Hey, I need a house painted. Hey, I need something. No, I wanted the money. That's all I say. So when you pray for God to give you bring the right woman in your life, be careful that He opened the closed. But It may be, and I'm not. I'm going to use the slight joke because this is the way I am, and I don't mean anything by it. Should I not say it? I think y'all know where I'm coming from. I'm going to say it. He may give you a butt ugly woman as the best cook, the most loyal person, and just does everything that is the most holy, beautiful thing in the world. So it's like, God, open my eyes so that I can find the right woman. Don't because like I said, God may be answering the prayer to that woman. She's praying to God, find me the right man. You're praying, God, find me the right woman. Oh, well, okay, here, put the two together. You know what I'm saying? So God work in me to open my eyes that I can see to find the right woman. Anyway. This isn't about that. Fare the will be done. Yes. Don't ask for that $100 bill. All right, back to the Oldsmobile question. When I see this happening, so first of all, when I diagnose something, I see what happens, and then I try to backtrack of what makes it happen. So this is what's happening. I don't know what oil you're running. If I could have what thickness of oil that you're running, I think what's happening is that the clearances are looser than the viscosity of the oil. So if I knew what oil you're running, and I don't want to, everybody wants to do a Band-Aid to put Castro GTX 2050 straight 40-weight gear oil or whatever to build up oil pressure, and using that as a Band-Aid is not a thing, but it may be the wrong oil. Where are you from? How hot is the ambient air temperature? How hot does the motor get? Does it not have any issues at all when it's cold and even warm? It's just when it gets hot, and then you start losing oil on one side. So what's happening is we're not able to keep the oil pressure up all the way up to the top. So it does go up like a Chevy feeds oil on the main on one side. LSs are proprietary on one side, oiling. That all doesn't really matter, but the further you get away from the crank, the first thing that gets oil is the mains on the crankshaft. Then it goes oil and it oils the rod. That's why when I see a motor that the oil pump is in the back of the motor and the number one rod burnt, the number one is the furthest away from there. And as you start going back, you start seeing the bearing start getting, a little bit better, and you start getting further away from it. That's always an indication of oil pressure. Now, that doesn't mean I have a bad pump. No, that doesn't mean everybody goes, oh, pressure, put in a pump. No, rarely is the pump bad. I know no one's going to want to hear this either. No one's going to want to hear this. But it's two gears inside. If you have metal going through your motor, you have other problems. Replace your pump. Yes, of course. But I say sounds like maybe low oil pressure, something in that. You go put an oil pump, and oh, Danny, you told me it was low. I didn't say go buy an oil pump, did I? Your oil pump was pumping oil. You have low oil pressure because your clearances are too low. So the hence was I'm making a determination of what it is by what I'm hearing, and then I work back from that. So what's happening, I don't know, pressure directly related to the restriction in the orifice. If you're talking about the pressure spring in the pump, that's what controls your pressure. There's a spring and a check valve. The oil pressure, if you have a 50-pound pump, let's just say, the oil pressure is actually, but not 60, 70 pounds. But there's a piston in there with a check valve. The spring is set at 50 pounds. So once the oil pump turns to two gears, the oil pressure comes up to 50 pounds, the spring opens and bypasses that extra oil pressure back into the oil pan, right? Sometimes back into the pump. And then the rest of it, 50 pounds, goes to the engine. That's a check valve. I have seen the check valve stick open. I'm not thinking that because if it's stuck open, we're not going to have oil pressure at idle or anywhere else. The key that I heard from Elaine for Shop Mom was that once it warms up. So what is that telling us? The viscosity is getting real thin. Maybe you have the wrong viscosity for the clearances that you have. Upping one on the oil viscosity level could take care of it as a test. If it's time for an oil change, I probably would do an oil change with the next viscosity to see if that, I'm on the right track. All right, hope that helps. Oil, 2050, high volume oil pump. When given some oil, it stops clicking. So that's the problem. You got way too much clearance. You already got, it's already been throwing a lot of oil pump. We got a problem. Is it a freshly built motor? Aluminum case and Buick in the timing case. A Buick is a wholly different. This was an Oldsmobile, if I remember right from shop mom telling me. It's an Oldsmobile, so a little bit different. The Buick does have the front mount timing cover on it. And those are bad. Is a freshly built oil pump? I think the clearances aren't right, or they left the plug off. They may have left the front plug off the oil galley. On the front of the oil galley holes, huh? Buick. Oh, it is a Buick. Okay.
455, and it's on one side that it clicked.
But only when it's hot. It doesn't do it all the time. When you start it up, oil pressure light comes right off. It is a Buick. The Buick is a weird animal in the sense that it's like an LS in a sense. They're real hard to prime. If it was just built, it could have an oil cavity problem. Big mains need at least 20 feet. Yes, the big mains need a thicker oil. People don't realize that when you start getting into a 3-inch main, you need a lot more oil clearance. If you try to do it a tight oil clearance, you're just going to end up burning up a main. Valve seats fell into the combustion chamber and chewed up the aluminum head. Ooh, not enough press fit on that aluminum head. Aluminum front driver with a high volume oil pump. So you had the high volume kit that had the little spacer that goes in there. How did you prime this? Did this start is this a fresh build? And this is just happening right now? Buicks are a little bit difficult to prime originally. You gotta force feed them. You can't let gravity do anything on that motor. Sometimes people have gotten away with it and think, well, I got away with this. So you got away with it, you got lucky. But they got to be force fed. Do you know what that means? That means that it's not going to suck its own oil. You know what I'm talking about? You can't just prime the gears and everything else and you think it's going to suck oil up into it. The oil pump is not submerged in the pan. It's in the front timing cover. Yes, it's primed okay. You force fed it. You force fed it. You didn't just put lube in it. You know, I don't like to throw it. Everybody likes to put a couple of shims behind the things and just throw a lot of oil pressure at it to make up for bad problems. I have seen a Buick that will run. It just doesn't ever get the right oil pressure. Remember a V6 back in the day when it first came up? There's a plug on the side that has the spring in it. I actually had made a fitting, went in there, a long piece of clear hose and a steel ball. And I fill the hose up with STP. Put that on the fitting, put the steel ball at the end, get the air hose, and push that steel ball in there. And I just force fed STP down into it. What do we do now? We have a tank. We have a tank. Hold on, don't go away. This is necessary on all modern, anything the oil pump is not submerged, I would not even crank the motor over. You may have already caused damage by cranking it over without. I know some of the old school guys will put lubriplate, STP, grease in the pump and in the screen and everything else, and get lucky if the pan is full and you never even turned it over. And as soon as it turns over, it starts to create a vacuum already. And I'm going to call that more as luck. My uncle would take, don't try this at home, would take he would take an air hose and he would pressurize the crankcase, either the dipstick tube right into there or the valve cover breather. We'd cover up the other holes, the hands, and then we would crank the engine while Chief pressurized the crankcase. I'm not talking and just blow out your seals, but he started pressurizing the crankcase. We got our hose covered up, pressure crank it, and say crank it. The light go right off, and it's like, Chief, you are a bad son of biscuits, man. I mean, so we've done that a few times back in the day. Now, don't even take chances. All LS, you better not do this. But a lot of people, I say you better not do this, and you'll see every YouTube video, Yahoo out there that doesn't do this. So do what you want. Okay, you can build one of these yourself. This is a home-built unit out of a Freon bottle. The tube in here goes all the way to the bottom. You fill this with oil right there. You can buy these online, Jegs or Summit, and then you just weld it up. Fill it with oil. You got a pressure gauge here. I got the valve that's shut off here, and then this is my new one. I guess I should have bought my old one. And then I haven't even used this one yet. This is a new one we just have, but I have my older one. Stop touching the table. And you pressurize this here. This pressurizes this here. The oil is at the bottom. As soon as I open this valve, oh, it's got pressure on it right now. It's going to pump all that oil pressure into it. So we take a fitting off the side of the block, put it on there. I'll go ahead and fill the motor up. I'll put all 5 quarts of oil in there. I won't put any in the pan. I'll put them in here. And I'll go ahead and I'll feed them through the motor. That way it pressurizes and gets rid of all the air, just about everywhere. I'm not saying you're going to get rid of 100% of the air, but it's going to force feed the oil pump and all the lines up with it. When I'm building one and we're not going to run it, I will fill all that up with STP. The last one I did, I used a whole bunch of Amsoil, filled up everything, all the lines, and then I used Lubriplate. Lubriplate is a white lube. Old school guys know what I'm talking about. And I use Lubriplate to cover up the screen, so that when we flip the motor up, put the oil pan on and flip it up, even though the pan is empty, there's Lubriplate in the screen, so it couldn't just run out. I could fill it all up, but when it sits there and we start turning the motor over, then it's just going to just come right out of there. The problem is, it's difficulty in turning the motor. So I'll build the motor with the head, rockers, everything all done, and put the pan on last. So that way, once it's on, we pressurize. And I tell the customer, don't turn this over, cranking it up or doing your flywheel and everything on. Put oil in it now. As soon as you get it on there, it doesn't have oil in it now, put it in your vehicle, fill it with oil, then start turning your motor over to put all your torque converter bolts on. Because if you start turning it over, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna suck air right in it, and everything we did, it didn't make any difference. So I think what there's it sounds like more like maybe it was built right, or maybe it was primed right. I'm not gonna get into that. You may just have a plug left off. If there's a plug left off in one of the lifter bores, at the end of there's plugs that they drill that bore and they put plugs at the end. I've seen a lot of times that a plug will be off and you can rev it up and have oil pressure, everything fine, but at idle you'll lose a bank on one cylinder. If this was a 409, I would even think I would know if it's a 409 that your distributor is in wrong or you change the distributor. On the 409 is actually the distributor goes into one of the lifter bores. And it's very crucial, and you'll always end up losing. Also, the 1955 Chevy, the 265, and so on and so forth. The Buick shouldn't have been a problem besides initial priming. By not doing this, I've had people have oil pressure, but it has air in it, and it just never right. It just comes and goes, and you got to rev it up. At idle, it just doesn't have oil pressure. You rev it up, and it does, and it wasn't primed right. We got an air pocket in there. Once you get an air pocket in there, air can compress. Liquid cannot compress, air can. So it does weird things in the oil pump or the lines. So I don't know. If you know for a fact you primed it right and everything else, start looking into the plugs. The rear plugs, easy cheesy. If they were off, it'd be leaking oil on the floor. The front plugs, you might, if I think about it, pull the distributor. And do you have a camera? I have a camera with a little screen, with a little probe. Now they have them for $9. You plug them into your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever. I have an actual little camera with a long probe. And pull the distributor out and just probe it in there and just look and see if the plugs are there. I think you might be able to get to it from the front through the distributor hole. I believe you can. And see if the plugs are there. You might be able to get to looking at a lot of the plugs without pulling the motor out of the car, especially if you have a camera with the long probe. And you know what I'm talking about? I don't need to pull mine out and show you that. All right. I think we're done. It went a little longer. I've just been missing y'all. Mainly, come back. We'll put the link again. We'll put Faye's going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. Blah, blah, blah. The 23rd, we're having a party. We are having a party on the 23rd. We're going to have some ASE tests. We're going to be giving away some stuff, maybe some Christmas stuff. We may even do a little improv ahead of time out in the parking lot. I don't know if you've seen Faye's new car. Blessings to Faye. She's worked very, very, very hard. Also want to have a little moment of silence for Faye's chicken. If you follow us, you know what I'm talking about. Sad moment. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Peace and assembly grease to everybody. Peace and assembly grease. It went real long, but I'm glad that y'all enjoyed Friday with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're new, hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification, and because I come up all the time. I've been trying to just log on to get my YouTube minutes or whatever. I'm going crazy again. But sometimes I just come on during the day. I got a lot of neat things coming on. During the Christmas holidays, I may be coming up a lot, just having some fun with y'all. So hit your notification button. Peace and assembly grease to everybody. Terry, thanks for coming in. Bob, thanks for coming in. We will see you this Wednesday. Feliz Navidad, everybody. And we will see you in a couple of days. On Tuesday on my video, which will be on these. Anyway, see y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all are awesome. You made my day. You made my weekend. All right. Peace and assembly grease, everybody. But now you're going to figure out, I don't know how to turn this off. So, I'm going to be here. Yes, chickens. Yes.